What is up out there in YouTube land? It's your man Rapmastayoda here for the very first episode of Yo SWGOH Raps. It's going to be a talk show where we discuss some of the current goings on in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. We've got a lot going on in the game. Today, the very first territory war took off and everybody got to get into the offense. So we're going to cover that in a little bit, but we're going to start out by recapping the dark side territory battles. With me is my fearless special guest tonight, Kam6578. He's a great guy, fellow YouTuber. I really enjoy watching his stuff. I've come to respect his work and now I get to collaborate with him. So Cam, why don't you introduce yourself and say hi to the kids at home?
Hey guys, what's going on? Rap and I are just going to be breaking down all the great things and some of the bad things about dark side territory battles and territory wars. It's going to be a really good talk. We're going to talk about strategy and all the good stuff, so I'm really looking forward to getting down in the nitty-gritty with this stuff.
Awesome, man. Well, let's jump right into this and not keep the people waiting. Dark side territory battles, man. What are your overall thoughts on this thing?
So initially, when we were fighting in that first phase, or the stage one, it was tough, especially when you got to the fourth and final combat mission. It was like all the elite troopers, they were hitting so hard. It was like, guys, this is crazy. I mean, it still was really tough throughout the entire territory battle, but that first day was just like, oh my God, what have we gotten ourselves into? As it progressed, I kind of realized with the addition of more teams and more characters from the dark side, it'll be a lot better. Obviously, there are a lot less characters on the dark side than there are on the light. I think about 15 to be exact. And there's a lot of room for growth and there's a lot of potential out there. I'm really, really excited for the next one. I really hope they add more factions to the party, like the bounty hunters maybe could use some love. Jango Fett devs, add Jango Fett. And also, I would really, really like Bosk. I mean, they've got a lot of options. I'm really excited for the future. I think this was a good idea of how it's supposed to go down, but it was hard. It was hard.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, all negative things aside, obviously the rollout wasn't quite as smooth as probably the developers or the community hoped for. But as many things as we could potentially knock about it, I think that the platform is great going forward. It's a new game mode. It's something more than just the daily monotonous climbing the ladder. And I think this could really open up, and I think you nailed it, man. As the universe expands in the game, I think that the light side and the dark side territory battles are going to continue to get cooler and cooler and cooler. But let's jump into some strategy, man. How did you approach attacking this thing, man?
So a good team to use, as always, I think the Zeta lead with the Darth Maul Sith kind of team. It requires a Zeta, but it really was a good deal. A huge amount of crits and stealthing. It just worked really well. It was relatively easy compared to other teams the dark side has. Now keep in mind there aren't very many dark side teams to form. That was a little tricky. Zeta Maul was a great option, especially for those who maybe Zeta'd him in the past. And then Rex kind of took over the meta at that time period about like 8 months ago. That was a good use. Another one I would Emperor Palpatine was a really good lead. And those kind of teams that were led by Emperor Palpatine were able to succeed based on how many debuffs they landed. Because for every single debuff they land, I think they get about 20% turn mirror, 20% health gaining. The Empire and Sith and Dark Side, anything that heals is really good. That's why Night Sisters were decent. I tried them. They need a little bit more gear, probably be around gear 10 to actually be viable in dark side territory battles. But still, there's a couple teams out there. I wasn't loving my strategy too much. It was kind of hodgepodge. What about you?
Yeah, kind of the same thing. I had a little bit of an arena hangover going into Dark Side. One of my very first videos, actually my very first video, was about Darth Nihilus lead with Count Dooku, life gain combo where he gets so many counterattacks you can't kill him. I used that, and actually days 3 and 4, I used some of the more powerful characters like Palpatine I used in the arena team. I didn't get to use them because I wanted to use them on the other teams for the territory battle. So I had kind of Nihilus Dooku and then just a pidge-podge of different characters behind him, and both days 3 and 4 it got down to where it was just Nihilus and Dooku able to keep them at bay long enough that Nihilus could keep stocking up the Annihilates and take out the elite units, and I got a couple 4-for-4s out of just those two characters, so that was pretty cool. Now down here at the bottom, I do want to flash up one of my guild mates, my buddy Kyle Katarn. He did go perfect on combat waves. He did not drop a single combat wave. So right here you're looking at the 3 squads that he used. You've got a first order squad. This one may be kind of the most unaccessible, especially for younger players right now, because he is using the Kylo Ren unmasked with a Zeta on the lead. And he's also using a Veers team. You've got the Imperial Trooper mission, plus they're just good in general with the Zeta. They kind of run over things. And then he's also using this Z Vader squad, which the leader switched back and forth between Vader and Thrawn, he did tell me. But anyway, you can see his SWGOH.GG down there. If you want to go check out how he's got these guys modded, what their gear levels are, what their actual levels are, feel free to go take a peep. What do you think? You got other teams you think maybe we need to be talking about? What do you think, Cam?
So first order, honestly, it kind of surprises me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, just because from what I heard from a lot of people, Kylo Ren's Zeta was not really as effective as maybe they thought it would be, because the computer players and the phases could stun him, and so that basically render him useless. But I would say that that's really impressive. I'm surprised he didn't use the Emperor Palpatine lead, but maybe Emperor Palpatine's for a little bit, beginner level players approaching this. But still, that's a really neat accomplishment, and that really goes to show you guys it's possible. It really gives you a good idea of what's needed to basically hit the maximum requirements for combat missions. I gotta give it to Kyle. I mean, that's really neat. That's really good.
Yeah, and especially, like I said, with the Zeta Kylo Ren Unmasked and the Zeta Veers team, he obviously went all out with trying to get this thing done, which congrats to him for being perfect on combat waves. Don't let this scare you off, especially if you're a newer player. These are definitely obtainable over time. This is just kind of the destination point. If you're curious, can it be done? Can you go perfect on combat waves? Yes, you most certainly can. And hopefully things will get tweaked and the first couple days won't be so rough on us. But anyway, what do you think moving forward? It can obviously be overwhelming, Cam, to try and farm out all these different teams, because now we've got bounty hunters, we've got Imperial troopers, we've got several other teams that we need to compile for this dark side territory battle. What do you think that our viewers need to be focusing on moving forward to get that done effectively?
I think one character they really need to focus on is General Veers. It sounds kind of weird. He's kind of an awkward character to farm, but he does appear occasionally in the guild event stores, so keep your eye out for that. He's got a great lead, especially when you Zeta. It's equal to the resistance in light side territory battles in a way. I mean, he's needed in a lot of special missions, so that's a great farm. Another one who I've seen, I know this is kind of crazy, so just take a leap of faith with me. And Wampa looks like a monster. He looks like a machine. That seems like a really neat character. They've got huge anti-rebel synergy. So Wampa, my man Wampa is probably the way to go for just conquering this entire dark side territory battle. But again, that's a lot of investment. That's going to take a lot of time. For the time being, Veers is the way to go, and hopefully they add more characters to help us out, or maybe give us a General Grievous rework or something just to help the community out a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like kind of we're missing that third good leadership. It's undecided. Obviously, the First Order synergy is really good. The Veers Imperial Trooper synergy is really good. Obviously, there's some different things with Empire, but there doesn't seem to be that kind of third standout as where in the light side we kind of knew what the teams were almost going in. You knew, hey, these are going to be the mainstays of it. But anyway, what do you think about the ships, man? I was kind of surprised getting to day 6 and not being able to participate because I didn't have a 7-star capital ship. What do you think about that, man?
I was a little frustrated because I've only been able to do that event for 7-star ships once. But I mean, I don't know. It's weird that the light side has a 6-star requirement and the dark side has a 7-star requirement. And I really wish they would have those events more often. I just feel like I'm kind of getting cheated out of an opportunity to participate in my guild. Another thing that I thought was kind of a dirty move, but they've done this in the past, is having the Chimera be required for a special mission in ships. Cool idea, but I would really like it if they would have given us an opportunity to farm the Chimera, prior to Territory Battle's Dark Side launching, similar to how they have Luke Skywalker in a special mission in the light side Territory Battles. I just kind of wish that at least at launch they would have given us the opportunity to get those two ships and the ship and the character just to help out our guild a little bit more. I don't like not being able to help out. I thought that was not really a cool move.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely would have liked to see the Chimera come back around. Luckily, I was able to get it the first time around, so I was able to contribute on that special mission. But with not being able to either get Chimera or get one of the 7-star ships for it, yes, it does limit what you can do for your guild. And especially in a higher level guild, everybody's kind of pitching in their weight. It's a big team thing. And I mean, it's definitely a team thing across the board, whether you're a brand new guild or you're a guild full of old whales. Being able to let everybody get a chance to pitch in is really nice, especially when you've got unknown things like, do you know when the next Chimera event's coming around? Because I don't.
No idea. But I assume it would be that typical 6-month period. They would have one rare event, like one rare legendary event, and then after 6 months, it goes on a regular cadence. Who knows, but probably 6 months, so.
Well, before we move on to Territory Wars, man, do you have any final thoughts for our viewers on Dark Side Territory Battles?
I will say that the devs did a really good job with the officer and leadership position in controlling how their guild attacks territory battles. I thought that was a really nice change with commanding different, combat missions to be specifically targeted or whatnot. I do not like, however, that whenever a territory has been 3-starred, you can't participate in it anymore. I always had the ships would always be 3-starred in light side territory battles, but then I would always just do my battle just to see where I was standing in terms of like success in my guild. Now that it becomes like first come first serve, so whoever gets in that ship's battle will get the territory points, and then once it has 3 stars, it's completed. Then I can't use my ships, and basically I just don't get to deploy, and so I don't really know how good I am relative to my guild. I kind of wish they still had that in the game, but those are just my thoughts.
Yeah, I totally concur with that last sentiment. I had a day I was busy doing some family stuff, and I just didn't have a chance till the next morning to jump in there, and I was already locked out. It didn't hurt us at all. It didn't hold our guild back, but like you said, getting to see how you stack up, especially being that it was a new event and a first-time thing, it's nice to be able to track your progress and get all 100% of the event in, even if the guys in your guild are crushing it in a couple hours once it opens up for the day. But anyway, man, let's move on. Brand new event rolling out. We are in the middle of it. We are still in the 24-hour period right now for offense, Territory Wars. Tell me how you felt about our first Territory War. Is your guild done with their map yet, or are you guys still working on it?
We're still working. We're playing some sort of Japanese team they've got some firepower, so it's actually pretty interesting. But I will say it's kind of weird because there's a lot of it's just a very mediocre, like there's a lot of mediocre squads, and you have to really strategically use your best squads matching up with their best squads, and your medium squads maybe matching up with their medium squads. It's just kind of like it's kind of a lot of guess and check right now. It's going to be really weird the first time, and then maybe the second time around, as we just kind of play with what teams beat what teams. It just seems like the quality of playing is just so low because there's so many bad characters. There are a lot of bad characters, but I mean, it's just kind of weird. It's kind of like a squad tournament back in the day for my ancient players, in that like you have to use your characters to the best of your ability to beat low level teams, and do use them wisely because you only can use them once.
Yeah, I definitely think that the first time around, there's a lot to figure out. I know that luckily in our guild, we had a lot of people download the beta. We have a lot of Android users. I'm a Mac user, so I didn't really have time to mess with getting the emulator and everything before our beta group filled up. So I just let those guys take it, and they kind of came into it with the knowledge. So we had a definite strategy that we went with, and I know that they're already discussing in the guild and in the officer group how to go forward and make the next one better. We rushed our map. We got it done in a couple hours. It was pretty quick. Our opponent actually kind of chose to overload on offense and leave their map relatively easy. We actually blew through it so fast. Unfortunately, a lot of the guys in the guild didn't even get to participate, including some of our bigger rosters. Some of the guys that have some, super high level teams, all gold teams with maxed out gear, just, superb mods on them. Those guys didn't even get to attack. So we really didn't even get to see what we could do as a guild. But at the same time, we learned a lot. So hopefully everybody's just kind of learning a lot. And I think going forward, this thing is a really cool environment to play in. And I think at the end of the day, once kind of power level across the board gets a little more fixed with character to character, because we're still using some of those older characters that haven't been updated, I think that this is going to be a really cool thing going forward. So what are your thoughts on strategy and how to move forward from seeing the first Territory War? What do you think is going to be the game plan going forward?
Well, obviously, it's going to require a lot of depth in your roster. I mean, we're talking 4 defensive teams and even more offensive teams if you can get them, which is crazy. I would say fighting teams that have already lost a character becomes a lot easier. So definitely, it's just kind of gonna be one of those things you just kind of got to get a feel for. So these first couple territory wars, if you're a leader or an officer in a guild, take it easy on your guys. They're just trying to test the waters out. I would say, just in your mind, you're gonna have to have an idea of what you think is the best call, and that's just gonna be your judgment call. If you lose or if you draw, you essentially lose, for your guild. So pretty much you're really supposed to win on offense. I don't really have anything else to say. I mean, it's all just kind of, you're going to fight some weird squads. You're going to fight some really weird Jedi squads and Ewoks and weird stuff. And those squads are just used to waste up your offensive character. Again, you're just gonna have to kind of play with different team comps and figure out, which teams you want to put where. And then once you get a feel for it, I would highly recommend making a squad little tab where you have, like your raid teams and whatnot. You add a new tab. You have territory wars on offensive teams, territory wars on defensive teams. Obviously, a territory war offensive team that'll be really good is resistance, because they can control basically any team as long as they're fast enough. Again, that would be my advice going on.
Yeah, definitely. I guess my one piece of advice going forward is our guild, and which I'm spoiled because I feel like my guild, and I know everybody thinks this, we've just got the best officers out there in the game. The officers group, they put a lot of time into this, a lot of thinking into this, and how they kind of stacked it, and they already kind of identified that, hey, we need to tier people out, and we need to set different goals and expectations of the tiers. So if you're a guild leader, if you're an officer out there, and you're looking for a way to kind of bring your guild together and get them moving forward, that's what I would do, is make sure that we're taking a look at everybody's galactic power, sorting them accordingly, and not expecting too much of them, and then letting the more heavily filled out rosters in your guild pull their fair share of weight, pull a little bit more than those guys. I think, with a lot of teamwork and some patience and then a lot of communication, I think that this can be a very, very fun thing for the guilds. I think a little bit they maybe need to rework the scoring system, because it seems like already it's just going to be everybody draws all the time if you're paired up accordingly, unless there's just some kind of glitch and you get paired with a much lower GP guild. It seems like everybody's going to conquer the map both times, no matter what defense you put in. So maybe we need to take a little bit of a look on the scoring, maybe figure out some other factors in there so we don't have so many ties. But other than that, I mean, I think the rewards are cool. I think there's some good stuff. You can definitely get a lot of gear, and even when you tie, you still get pretty decent rewards. So
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. The tiebreaker needs to be something intense. Like, you send in one team and you have like a race to see which team can beat the other team first in terms of time or something. That would just be insane. I would love that. Or I don't know. The only thing that I really wished wasn't a thing was how many teams you need. Like, when you look at the initial territory map, you're thinking, I have to beat basically 25 teams per territory in this. This sounds insane, but slowly over time, with your guild working together, you pick apart each territory. I wish it was a little more higher quality teams. So maybe just have 2 teams on defense and raise the power minimum to like 10,000. But
yeah, no, I totally agree, man. Well, anyway, I think that's about all the time we've got for this evening. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. A couple things I'd like to say. Big thank you to Kyle Katarn for providing that list of teams. Definitely go check out his .gg profile, see what he's working with, so that can show you where you need to be to get perfect combat waves. I'd also like to thank another YouTuber, Reggae Dragon 22. He provided the actual territory battles footage that you guys watched in the background here tonight. So thank you, Reggae, for hooking us up with that. And then a big thanks to my man, Kam6578. We've been friends for quite a while now. We've talked a lot on Discord, but this is the first time we've really got to live discuss Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. So I was very excited. So thanks for being here, man. What do you want to say to wrap it up, brother?
I want to say, guys, thanks for listening. I've got a giveaway going on in Gleam. It's actually in a description of a couple of my videos that have been out recently for $10. Galaxy of Heroes gift card, probably, or just, an iTunes or Google Play gift card. So definitely check that out if you want to get some free money and spend it on Galaxy of Heroes. Again, I'm really appreciative of you guys listening, and I hope this really helps you all out.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for being here. There's a link to your channel down in the description for this video. If you guys haven't been watching Kam6578's videos, everything from beginner intro to the game all the way up to top tier strategy, he's got it all. So go like, subscribe, share. Thanks for tuning in tonight, guys. I had a lot of fun making this. Cam, I had a lot of fun having you here, man. Everybody have a great night. We'll see you next time.